I've always worked in restaurants from in hotels from the age of 16. My mum and grandma did as well, actually. So it's something that I just sort of went into when I got my first job. I then liked it, so I went to university and studied hospitality business management in Sheffield. So I did a 4-year course there with a year out at Gleneagles on a placement year. I then got my first job when I graduated in Leeds. I moved from Sheffield to Leeds. I was operational side, so I was assistant manager at Lockfine. I was there for a bit, then I moved up to Browns, and then I moved across to Thai Leisure Group 2012 and started as events and marketing manager for Chaopraya, and now I'm brand manager. So I've sort of progressed through the 4 or 5 years I've been here now. So Chaopraya, and in fact the Leeds restaurant here, was our first ever Thai restaurant for us, which was in 2004. We started off just upstairs here, and then in 2012 we expanded and spent 1.3 million and bought the furniture shop underneath, so we're now across the 2 floors. But as the Thai Leisure Group, we have 21 sites, and Chaopraya takes up 8 of those. So the 2 core brands we have is Chaopraya and Tycoon, with Tycoon taking on 10. We have Yira World Cuisine in Liverpool, and then we have 2 buffet formats in Trafford Centre and Meadowhall. Kim and Martin are owners, so Martin is a local man from Leeds, sort of lived and grew up here, and they met in Thailand, and Kim moved across in 1999, I believe. So it was always sort of a venture that they wanted to do to start in Leeds, so they opened here, and then it saw us grow. We then went to Manchester and Liverpool, so we kind of did that sort of middle section, and then we went down to Birmingham and then up to Scotland as well. Yeah, so I think the Leeds foodie scene has really come on in the past. I've lived here 8 years now, coming up to 8 years, and what I've seen in that time is that we've just, Chaopraya sort of opened at the start of that, with the bringing of the Leeds Trinity. We've now got Victoria Gate shopping centre up there as well, so that kind of progression in the city has seen a lot of the bigger brands come up to Leeds and up to North. So D&D London opened their first restaurant out of London in the Trinity a few years back. Man Behind the Curtain has just got its first Michelin star, so that sees Leeds have its first Michelin star. So I think it's really just vamped up a bit. I think people always sort of saw Leeds as a bit slower pace than Manchester and Liverpool, and I think over the past sort of 2 to 3 years especially, it's seen us really kind of catch up with them. Yeah, so we've had, obviously with Tycoon, we've grown that from 1 to 10 sites in 2 years. Last year saw us open 2 Chaoprayas, one in Newcastle, one in Aberdeen, but it did see us open Newcastle, Chaopraya and Tycoon Southampton on the same day. So we opened 2 restaurants on the same day, which, as you can imagine, was a bit hectic. So we've just taken sort of 6 months out just to sort of regroup and get back where we're at, do a couple of rebrands, a few menu changes. But there is progression over the next sort of 2 to 3 years as well to see more Chaoprayas and Tycoons grow. Yeah, I think street food, Thai food, I think consumers these days are a lot more willing to experiment and try. Sort of the travel to Thailand, all that kind of, and I think what we found as well, I think Thailand always used to sort of be the kind of young gap year thing, but you now see a lot of the sort of older generations and the more kind of older people that are wanting to travel and be a bit more adventurous. So you see a lot more. So I think it's around. I think it's a staple food that people like, slightly healthier option than some of the other cuisines out there, and I think we'll only see more people willing to try different things. Chaopraya Glasgow is the largest square foot Thai restaurant in Europe, which sees us in this beautiful old building. Aberdeen is in on a corner unit, which is a very sort of old, but then we've got the likes of Edinburgh and Newcastle that are rooftop, so you get, in Edinburgh you get gorgeous views of the castle, so they're the kind of more sort of contemporary ones, and then we've got the older building that gives us the heritage. think just the fact that there are so many restaurants and restaurant groups, not only that, you know, especially in Leeds, I think there's a very big local scene up here still. So you've got the likes of kind of Leeds and Arc Inspirations they're not competitors to us because they're a completely different, they're sort of the more kind of bar trade, but you see them just taking on more and more units. So I think just the matter that it's just a tough old game out there with lots of people opening, but we've just got to keep up our growth and our expansion and getting our name out there.